1989, Florida. A group of tourists on a yacht trip spotted something floating in the water. They moved closer. It was a body. A woman. Dead. And when Coast Guard searched the surrounding area, they found 2 more bodies. All 3 were women. All 3 had tape over their mouths, yellow rope around their wrists, and concrete blocks tied to their feet. Someone had thrown them into the ocean. Alive. The victims had tape over their mouths. Their hands were tied with yellow rope, and their feet were connected by rope to heavy concrete blocks. The killer did this on purpose. The blocks were heavy enough to drag them down while they were still breathing. But after death, the body produces gases that cause it to inflate, like a balloon. And that is how they floated to the surface, even with the concrete still attached. Police noticed the 3 victims shared similar facial features. They concluded they were likely related, probably a mother and her 2 daughters. The older woman appeared to be in her 30s. The 2 younger ones looked like teenagers. They had no identification on them, no wallets, no ID cards, nothing. Police had no idea who these women were. Police went public with the case. They announced they had found 3 female bodies, a woman and her 2 teenage daughters, and asked anyone with information to come forward. Within days, they received a call from a hotel manager. Days in hotel? He told them a woman and her 2 daughters had been staying at his hotel, and for 3 days, nobody had seen them. Their belongings were still in the room, like they simply vanished. Police went to the hotel and found the identities of the victims. The mother was Joan Rogers, age 36, her older daughter Michelle, age 17, her younger daughter Christy, age 14. They had traveled all the way from Ohio, over 1,500 kilometers away. They came to Florida for a vacation, just a simple family vacation, and they never made it home. Investigators contacted the father, Hal Rogers. He ran a farm in Ohio. When they told him his wife and daughters had been murdered, his response shocked every detective in the room. He said, "I don't have time to be emotional right now. I have a farm to run," and he went back to work. Like nothing had happened. Every investigator in that room immediately suspected him. But investigators quickly ruled him out. The farm was in a tiny town in Ohio. Everyone knew everyone. Multiple witnesses confirmed seeing Hal at the local diner every single day, at the grocery store, around town. He never left. The farm was over 1,500 kilometers from Florida. It was impossible. Hal Rogers was not the killer. His cold reaction was simply his way of dealing with unimaginable grief. Forensic experts examined the 3 bodies looking for any evidence, fingerprints, hair, DNA, anything. But the bodies had been in the water for 3 days. The ocean had washed away every single piece of evidence that might have been on them. The killer had been in the water too long. There was nothing left to find. The investigation had hit a wall. But police found something important. They located Joan's car parked near a small public boat launch on the coast. This told them the victims had likely boarded a boat from this exact location. The killer had a boat. They searched the car and found 2 handwritten notes inside. 2 different handwriting styles, 2 different people had written them. This was the first real breakthrough. The first note was written by Joan herself. Forensic handwriting experts confirmed it. It contained directions to the boat launch. And at the bottom, 2 words, blue and white, the color of a boat. The second note was written by someone else entirely, an unknown person. It contained directions to the hotel where they were staying. And the handwriting was very distinctive. Capital T in the middle of words. The letter Y written 4 different ways. A tip came in about a man named Oba Chandler. He ran an illegal boat tour business from that exact same boat launch, taking tourists on sunset cruises. He had a criminal record including previous assault convictions. And when police drove to his house, they found him, along with his boat, blue and white, and next to the boat, concrete blocks, the exact same type tied to the victim's feet. But they had no hard evidence against him. Then something important emerged. A Canadian tourist named Jody Blair came forward. She reported that 2 weeks before the Rogers murders, a man had approached her on the street, offered her a sunset boat cruise. She accepted, and once they were alone in the middle of the ocean, he pulled out a knife, put it to her throat, and attacked her. After attacking her, he waited until dark, then drove the boat back toward shore and ordered her to jump into the water and swim to shore. Investigators believed he did this deliberately. The water would wash away any DNA or evidence connecting him to the crime. Jody never went to the police immediately. She went back to her hotel, took a shower, and only then reported what happened. By then, all evidence was gone. Jody gave police a detailed description of her attacker. They created a composite sketch. When the Rogers murder made the news and the blue and white boat detail became public, Jody contacted police again. She was certain the man who attacked her was the same man who killed the Rogers family. Investigators agreed. She was now their most important witness. Police showed Jody a photo of their main suspect, Oba Chandler, alongside other photos. She looked carefully and said no. "That is not the man who attacked me." The faces did not match the sketch closely enough. Police then brought Chandler in for a lie detector test. He passed, and witnesses confirmed he was elsewhere on the day of one of the crimes. Chandler was released. The real killer walked free. 3 years passed. 1989, 1990, 1991, 1992. The case went cold. Tips kept coming in, but none led anywhere. The sketch was everywhere. The blue and white boat detail was public. But the killer remained free. Investigators kept the case open, but it was no longer their top priority. Then one detective had an idea so strange and unusual that nobody had ever tried it before in any murder investigation. The detective took the handwriting from the unknown note found in Joan's car, the distinctive writing with the capital T and the 4 different Y letters, and printed it in giant letters on 5 massive billboards placed around the city. Next to the handwriting, the billboard read, "Who wrote this? You may know the Rogers family killer. Reward, $25,000. This had never been done before in any criminal investigation anywhere. A woman named Joanne Steffi was walking down the street one day. She passed one of the billboards, looked at the handwriting, and immediately recognized it. She called police right away. She told them the handwriting looked exactly like the writing of a contractor who had done aluminum work at her house. She still had his invoices. Come and compare them." Forensic handwriting experts compared the 2 samples, the invoice from the contractor and the note found in Joan's car. One look was all they needed. Perfect match. The capital T in the middle of words. Identical. The 4 different Y letters. All present. All matching exactly. The man who wrote those directions for Joan Rogers was the same man who did aluminum work at Joanne Steffi's house. His name was Oba Chandler. But investigators wanted more evidence. They examined the note again under forensic light and found something remarkable. A palm print. Not fingerprints, a full palm print. When Chandler wrote on the note, he held the paper in his palm and the pressure left a perfect impression. They compared it to Oba Chandler's palm print. Perfect match. His handwriting on the note. His palm print on the note. The case was airtight. Police went to arrest Oba Chandler, but he had already sold his boat 3 months after the murders, trying to destroy evidence. He had also moved his entire family to a different neighborhood after the sketch became public. He knew people were looking for him, but the handwriting and the palm print were enough. Oba Chandler was arrested. After 3 years of freedom, the killer was finally in handcuffs. Police brought Jody Blair in for a live lineup. Chandler stood with several other men. Jody looked down the line slowly and, without any hesitation, pointed directly at Oba Chandler. "That is him. I am certain." Visible fear and disgust appeared on her face the moment she saw him. To be absolutely sure, they showed her photographs as well. Same result. Immediate, certain, no hesitation. While awaiting trial, Chandler was placed in a cell with other inmates. Feeling comfortable among fellow criminals, he began talking. He boasted about attacking a foreign woman on his boat, talking about Jody, and then told his cellmate that he had attacked a mother and her 2 daughters in the middle of the ocean, and he would not be here if one of those girls had not fought back. The trial began. Prosecutor presented the evidence: the matching handwriting, the matching palm print, Jody Blair's identification, the cellmate's testimony. Chandler's own daughter and her husband testified that Chandler had visited their home and literally confessed to the murders, telling them he was hiding from police. Oba Chandler maintained his innocence throughout, but the jury took only 90 minutes. Guilty on all counts. The judge sentenced Oba Chandler to death. Florida was and still is one of the states where the death penalty exists, but Chandler spent many years on death row before his sentence was carried out. He continued claiming innocence right until the end. On November 15, 2011, Oba Chandler was executed. On the day of his execution, Oba Chandler wrote a final letter. In it, he wrote, "You are about to execute an innocent man today. The same man who had tied 3 women to concrete blocks and thrown them into the ocean while they were still breathing. The same man who had attacked Jody Blair at knife point, still claiming innocence." The execution was carried out. Justice was finally served, 22 years after the murders. But the story does not end there. 4 years after his execution in 2015, investigators made a shocking discovery. Cold case from 1990. A 20-year-old woman named Ivelisse Berrios Begaris had been found murdered. She had been attacked before being killed. For 25 years, the case had remained unsolved. Then DNA technology advanced enough to test evidence from the case. The DNA matched Oba Chandler perfectly. Oba Chandler was officially declared a serial killer 4 years after his execution. The man who had maintained his innocence until the very end had killed at least 4 people. Joan Rogers, age 36, Michelle Rogers, age 17, Christy Rogers, age 14, and Ivelisse Berrios Begaris, age 20. All women, all attacked, all murdered, and there may be more victims whose cases will never be connected to him. This case introduced something completely new to criminal investigation, publishing a killer's handwriting on public billboards to find a witness who recognizes it. It had never been done before, and it worked. A woman walking down the street recognized the handwriting of a contractor she had hired years earlier. That one billboard, that one woman, that one recognition solved a 3-year-old murder case and brought a serial killer to justice. A mother and her daughters went on a simple vacation to Florida in 1989. They never came home. A handwritten note in a car, distinctive handwriting on a billboard, a woman who recognized it walking down the street, and a DNA match 4 years after execution revealed an even darker truth. Justice took 22 years, but it came. Was it enough? Drop your answer in the comments. Like if this story shocked you. And subscribe. The next story is even more unbelievable than this one.